Good morning and welcome again. Today, I would like us to start um, looking at the topic of love. Love. To learn about what is God's love being revealed through us. And as believers, how to function in it. You know, love is one of the fruits of the Spirit. Fruit means result of the Spirit. The result of the Spirit, the manifestation that the life of the Spirit is at work in us. And usually, fruits don't mature at the same time. It takes a period of time for a fruit to mature. And just because it's not yet matured and people cannot enjoy partaking from it, doesn't mean that the fruit is not there. And a lot of times people judge, believers or Christians that are growing and say, well, you're not a Christian because I can't see love from you. I can't see patience from you. All the fruits that are written in the book of Galatians chapters 5. But the issue might just be that their fruit hasn't matured yet. But they can grow until that fruit begins to mature in them. That's why it's important to always nourish people with the word of God. Bible says, as newborn babe, desire the sincere milk of the word, because the word helps you to grow, helps you to mature. Just because a little child is not grown, has not grown enough to be able to speak clearly or to be able to do certain things that a mature person will do, doesn't mean that they are not children or they're not human beings. The same thing. It is possible for someone to be a born again Christian, but they are not able to reflect certain characteristics that we may judge or deem to be of a Christian because they've not yet matured. It's important to be patient with them. It's important to keep nourishing them with the word of God. It's important to keep encouraging them. Paul spoke to the Corinthians, he said, when I came to you, I couldn't discuss certain things. He said, because you were not yet mature. You were still acting carnal. You see? In the book of 1 Corinthians chapters 13, the Bible here begins to talk about love. And I'm reading from the NIV version. If I speak in the tongues of men, of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. Here's a question. Is it possible for someone to have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and can have faith and yet not have love? Well, Paul shows that it's possible. So how can you be a Christian? How can you be a believer that may have all these things and not have love? It is possible because sometimes just because people display certain gifts, or we may call gift, doesn't necessarily mean that they have God in them. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have fellowship with God's Spirit. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're even born again. And so love is what we watch out for. Not when I say watch out for, I'm not talking about us trying to judge them in a particular way. But I'm saying that it's important that before we start looking for gifts, we should ensure that the love of God is in the heart. And that's what we're going to be talking about. What is the love of God? We don't measure spirituality based on the outward show of gifts of this and gifts of that. But we want to see the love of God. Jesus said, by these shall men know that ye are my disciples, when ye love one another. If you have all the gifts, which can be good gifts, but there's no love, Paul said, then you are nothing. I am nothing without the love of God showing forth. Because love is God. Faith may not be God. Mysteries may not be God. But love is God. He that had God had love. And how can how can we as believers begin to walk in love? Because when I walk in love, then I'm showing forth God. When I walk in love, I'm communicating God. I should pray and say, Lord, cause that the fruit of your love may grow within me. Because when people see the love of God in me, they see God in me. When I touch them with the love of God, that love is transferable into their lives. What I have, I give to them. The love of God. If I give all I possess to the poor, verse 3, and give over my body to hardship that I may boast. You see that? But do not have love, I gain nothing. Paul said I could impress people by telling people how much I have given to God. I've given for this. He said, I'm given so I can boast. It is not coming from a place of love. He said, then I have gained nothing. People may clap for me. People may recognize me, but God doesn't. Because there's no love in the heart. Everything we do must be motivated, firstly, by our love for God. And then also move on to our love for God's people, for God's creation. For God so loved the world. See that? Wherever God is, love is. Because God is love. I hope to keep sharing a bit more as we begin to look at the features of love. And with love, I don't have to say I'm going to work hard on loving. We just need to open our hearts. Because the love we have is the love we've received. If I receive of God's love, then I can give that love to people. If I receive of God's love, what I've received from God is what I give to those around me. I pray that this message will be a blessing to you as we keep sharing on this teaching of love. God bless you and have a very beautiful day ahead.